June 14, 1944, Villers-Bocage, France. Obersturmbannführer Michael Wittmann lifted his field glasses and studied the American column advancing through the Norman hedgerows. A thin smile crossed his weathered face. "Look at this," Wittmann said, lowering the glasses and passing them to his gunner. "The Americans bring their toy tanks." Hauptscharführer Balthasar Wohl peered through the optics and laughed. "Sheet metal coffins. Our tigers will crush them like beer cans." Lieutenant Klaus Hoffmann, the battalion intelligence officer, shifted uncomfortably in his seat. "The production reports suggest we should not underestimate their numbers, Herr Obersturmbannführer." But Wittmann waved him off. "Numbers mean nothing without quality. One tiger is worth 10 of their Shermans. We proved it at Kursk, where we destroyed 43 T-34s in one day. We proved it at Normandy, where single tigers held entire divisions. We proved it outside Caen, where 3 tigers destroyed 28 Allied tanks without loss. At Villers-Bocage on June 13, one tiger destroyed 25 British tanks in 15 minutes. At Kursk, individual tigers achieved kill ratios exceeding 10:1. At every engagement, German armor dominated. The mathematics were undeniable. Superior German engineering guaranteed battlefield supremacy. What Wittmann didn't know, what none of them could have known as they prepared their ambush positions in that Norman village, was that American industrial capacity would produce 49,000 M4 Shermans before war's end, while Germany built fewer than 1,500 Tigers total. The numbers would become catastrophic. American tank production exceeded German production by ratios approaching 5:1 in medium tanks alone. Between 1942 and 1945, American factories delivered 88,410 tanks of all types. German losses in France would exceed 2,200 armored vehicles by September 1944. The confident laughter in that Tiger commander's cupola would become history's most expensive miscalculation, measured in 5.53 million German military deaths. Wittmann's confidence rested on undeniable battlefield performance. At Kursk in July 1943, his single Tiger destroyed 8 Soviet tanks and 7 anti-tank guns in one engagement. The ratio stood at 8:0. At Normandy on June 13, his Tiger destroyed 25 British tanks and 14 half-tracks in 15 minutes. The ratio, 39:0. At every engagement from the Eastern Front to France, Tigers dominated. Individual Tiger crews claimed total kills exceeding 50 Allied tanks. The 88 gun penetrated Sherman armor at ranges exceeding 2,000 meters. Sherman 75 guns required point-blank range, under 500 meters, to threaten Tiger frontal armor. Tiger frontal armor measured 100 at optimal angles. Sherman frontal armor measured 51. The armor ratio favored Tigers 2:1. The gun penetration ratio favored Tigers 4:1. German crews called Shermans Tommy Cookers because they burned so easily. Russian crews called them cigarette lighters for the same reason. Every statistic, every engagement, every technical specification confirmed German superiority. Wittmann had destroyed 138 enemy tanks in combat. His Knight's Cross with oak leaves and swords confirmed his status as Germany's premier tank ace. He had survived the Eastern Front's horrific battles, destroyed entire Soviet tank companies single-handedly, and earned personal recognition from Hitler himself. His combat record was impeccable. At Kursk, his unit destroyed 43 enemy tanks in one day. At Villers-Bocage, he would add 25 more. His gunner, Wohl, had scored direct hits on 47 enemy vehicles. His loader could maintain sustained fire rates approaching 1 round every 6 seconds. His driver maneuvered the 60-ton Tiger with surprising agility. They were Germany's finest, operating Germany's finest weapon. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. Klaus Hoffmann studied production reports in his cramped intelligence office. American tank production was accelerating at rates that defied German economic models. In January 1943, American factories produced 1,741 tanks monthly. By June 1943, production reached 2,464 monthly. By December 1943, single facilities produced numbers approaching entire German monthly totals. Hoffmann presented these figures to divisional command. "The Americans are producing tanks at rates we cannot match. A single facility in Detroit produced 1,027 Sherman tanks in November 1943 alone. Our entire Panzer production for that month was 623 Tigers, Panthers, and Panzer IVs combined." The report was dismissed. "American tanks burn too easily," came the response. "Quality defeats quantity." But Hoffmann archived the production data, noting the exponential growth curves. The mathematics were becoming ominous. If current trends continued, American production would bury German forces under steel avalanches. His warnings fell on confident ears that remembered only battlefield victories. Unteroffizier Hans Weber crewed a Panzer IV in Normandy. He had witnessed American tanks in combat 3 times. At St. Lo on June 18, his company destroyed 11 Shermans while losing 2 Panzer IVs. The ratio, 11-2. At Kärnten on June 21, they destroyed 7 Shermans while losing 1 Panzer IV. The ratio, 7-1. At every engagement, German gunnery and armor proved superior. Weber personally witnessed 2 Shermans burst into flames after single 75 hits. 1 Sherman crew abandoned their vehicle without it even being hit, simply from near-miss explosions. American tanks maneuvered poorly in hedgerow terrain. American crews appeared inadequately trained, often exposing their thinner side armor during maneuvers. American tanks broke down frequently. Weber counted 3 abandoned Shermans with mechanical failures in 1 kilometer of road. Every observation confirmed what doctrine taught. German engineering exceeded American mass production. The mathematics seemed irrefutable. Detroit, Michigan, July 1942. William Knudsen surveyed the Chrysler tank arsenal from the factory floor. This single facility produced 17 Sherman tanks daily. Every 8 hours, another 17 tanks rolled off the assembly line. Every 24 hours, 51 tanks left the factory. Every month, 1,500 tanks, more than Germany's entire Tiger production for the entire war. In January 1942, America produced just 974 tanks monthly across all facilities. By July 1942, production reached 1,983 monthly. By December 1942, 2,464 monthly. By June 1943, the Chrysler tank arsenal alone was producing 1,027 tanks monthly. This single facility was producing more than Germany's entire heavy tank program combined. The factory floor stretched 3/4 of a mile. The assembly line moved with mechanical precision. Workers installed final drive assemblies at Station 47. Turrets lowered onto hulls at Station 51. Engines connected to transmissions at Station 38. Final road testing occurred at Station 63. The entire process took 9 hours from raw steel to combat-ready tank. Rose Monroe, previously a waitress from Pulaski, Kentucky, now operated a riveting gun on the hull assembly line, installing 2,847 rivets per shift, producing structural integrity that allowed Sherman hulls to withstand combat stresses that destroyed lesser designs. She produced more rivets in 1 8-hour shift than the entire Henschel Tiger factory installed in 3 days of production. Rose worked with pneumatic precision, driving rivets every 14 seconds, 257 rivets per hour, maintaining tolerances within 0.002 inches. Her single station's daily output exceeded the entire rivet installation capacity of the Alkit facility in Berlin, where Panzer IV production struggled to reach 35 vehicles monthly. Rose earned $41.20 weekly, more than German skilled workers earned monthly under rationing. She brought a lunch pail containing sandwiches, fruit, and coffee. The calories in her daily lunch exceeded what Eastern Front German soldiers received in 2 days. Her co-workers included former farmers, salesmen, teachers, and housewives. None had manufactured tanks before 1942. Now they produced more tanks in 1 facility than Germany produced in all facilities combined. Charles Johnson, from Birmingham, Alabama, operated the final drive assembly station that produced gear assemblies for 102 tanks weekly. His single station's daily output exceeded the entire final drive production of the MAN facility in Nuremberg, which struggled to produce sufficient components for 30 Panther tanks monthly. Charles manipulated precision instruments calibrated to tolerances of 0.0001 inches. His assembly station received continuous supplies of machined gears, bearings, seals, and housings. When components showed the slightest defect, he discarded them into scrap bins. The rejected components accumulated in bins emptied twice daily. The weight of discarded final drive components on an average Tuesday exceeded the entire final drive production capacity of the Daimler-Benz Panzer IV facility for 1 week. Charles earned $1.15 hourly, owned a 1941 Ford, and lived in a 2-bedroom apartment with electricity, running water, and indoor plumbing. His standard of living exceeded that of German factory directors operating under total war rationing. Ernest Breach, $1-a-year man from Ford Motor Company, managed production logistics across 7 Sherman tank facilities. His spreadsheets tracked material flows measured in millions of pounds daily. Steel deliveries arrived by rail every 4 hours. Aluminum shipments arrived every 6 hours. Rubber arrived every 8 hours. The material logistics for Sherman production exceeded Germany's entire automotive industry capacity. Breach coordinated 17 suppliers providing 47,000 separate components. A single Sherman required 8,000 parts manufactured by 900 separate suppliers. The coordination required telecommunications infrastructure, transportation networks, and management systems that represented industrial organization at scales Germany could not match. Breach's office contained maps tracking material flows from Minnesota iron mines, Pennsylvania steel mills, Michigan rubber plants, and Ohio engine factories. The industrial ecosystem supporting Sherman production employed 4.7 million workers, exceeding Germany's entire military equipment manufacturing workforce. Americans discarded 847 pounds of steel scrap daily from the Chrysler facility. Germany allocated 200 pounds of steel monthly for Panzer IV production repairs. The waste from hull fabrication exceeded what German factories received for new construction. The scrap bins at the Chrysler facility contained more usable steel than the Alkit facility received in monthly allocations. American workers threw away defective components without thought. German workers recycled every gram of metal. The psychological difference was profound. Americans operated from abundance. Germans operated from scarcity. The scrap metal from one day's Sherman production could have built 17 Panzer IVs if German engineering could have utilized it. But German production couldn't absorb such quantities. German facilities lacked the machine tools, the power generation, the transportation infrastructure, and the raw materials to scale production. American waste revealed capacities that Germans couldn't comprehend. The waste from quality control testing exceeded Germany's combat allocation. Engineers test-fired every Sherman's 75 gun before delivery. Each test firing consumed 15 rounds. With 51 tanks completed daily, the Chrysler facility expended 765 rounds daily in testing alone, more than an entire German Panzer battalion received monthly for combat operations. The test ammunition was treated as consumable overhead. Germans rationed every shell. The testing facility also validated suspension systems, transmissions, and final drives under load conditions that simulated 500 miles of combat maneuvering. The fuel consumed in testing, 530 gallons daily, exceeded what an entire German Panzer battalion received weekly for operations. Germans tested new vehicles minimally due to fuel rationing. Americans tested exhaustively because fuel was abundant. This single difference, testing thoroughness enabled by surplus resources, meant American tanks entered combat with proven reliability, while German tanks entered combat with latent defects that reduced battlefield effectiveness. Workers threw away food scraps that Germans rationed by the gram. The Chrysler Tank Arsenal cafeteria served 12,000 workers across 3 shifts. Daily food waste from uneaten meals filled 4 dumpsters. Each dumpster contained approximately 400 pounds of discarded food: bread, vegetables, meat, dairy products, and desserts. The 1,600 pounds of daily cafeteria waste contained more calories than the entire city of Hamburg received in daily rations during 1943. The cafeteria discarded more meat daily than German soldiers received monthly under Wehrmacht rations. American workers ate fresh beef, while German soldiers ate horse meat and black bread. American workers left food on plates because portions exceeded appetite. German civilians counted every gram of their 250-gram daily bread ration. The cafeteria waste represented not just material abundance, but psychological confidence. Americans wasted food because they knew more would arrive tomorrow. Germans hoarded crusts because they feared tomorrow's shortage. The aluminum scrap from one day's Sherman production exceeded Germany's monthly allocation for all Panzer programs. Sherman hulls required 340 pounds of aluminum per vehicle for various components. The manufacturing process generated approximately 62 pounds of aluminum scrap per tank: turnings, filings, defective castings, and trimmed excess. With 51 tanks produced daily, the Chrysler facility generated 3,162 pounds of aluminum scrap daily. This single facility's daily aluminum waste exceeded the entire monthly aluminum allocation for Germany's Tiger, Panther, and Panzer IV programs combined. Germany allocated 2,800 pounds monthly for aluminum components across all Panzer production. The scrap exceeded the allocation. This single aspect exceeded entire enemy nations' capacity to produce new components. The aluminum scrap was melted and recycled within days. The recycling capacity itself exceeded German primary aluminum production. American industrial depth operated at levels Germany couldn't match even in undamaged facilities with full access to raw materials. Discarded ammunition in testing exceeded enemy combat allocation. Each Sherman underwent live fire testing before delivery. 15 rounds per tank times 51 tanks equaled 765 rounds daily. Monthly testing consumed 22,950 rounds of 75 ammunition. More than 3 German Panzer divisions received monthly for actual combat operations. The German 16th Panzer Division received 6,800 rounds monthly for all its tanks combined. A single American testing facility expended more ammunition in validation than an entire German armored division received for combat. The testing rounds were treated as manufacturing overhead, not combat allocation. They appeared in accounting ledgers as quality control costs, not ammunition expenditure. This accounting distinction revealed the gulf between American and German industrial capacity. Americans could afford to treat combat ammunition as an acceptable quality control expense. Germans rationed every shell for actual combat. This single facility's testing protocols exceeded what Germany's entire 16th Panzer Division received for fighting the Red Army. Klaus Hoffmann reviewed production intelligence with growing alarm. His sources reported impossible numbers. In January 1943, American tank production reached 1,741 monthly. By June, 2,464 monthly. By December, 2,817 monthly. The Chrysler tank arsenal alone produced 1,027 Shermans in November 1943. Germany's entire tank production for November 1943 totaled 623 tanks of all types. One American facility exceeded Germany's entire national production. Hoffmann prepared detailed briefings. We face production differentials approaching 4:1 in medium tanks. American facilities operate 24 hours daily. Our facilities operate 14 hours daily due to power rationing and labor shortages. American facilities have unlimited steel, aluminum, and rubber. Our facilities face constant shortages. The mathematics are catastrophic. Current American production rates will deliver approximately 40,000 Sherman tanks before war's end. Our projected Tiger and Panther production combined will deliver approximately 6,000 heavy tanks before war's end. The briefings reached divisional command. The response: German quality defeats American quantity. 1 Tiger equals 10 Shermans. The mathematics favor us. Hoffmann filed his reports and waited for reality to teach lessons that intelligence could not. July 17, 1944. Outside Caen, France, 8:43 hours. Hans Weber was conducting routine maintenance on his Panzer IV when the sky turned to thunder. American P-47 Thunderbolts appeared in formations of 8 aircraft, each carrying 2 500-pound bombs and 10 rockets. Weber's first thought was to reach the tank. At 8:43 hours exactly, the first bomb struck Panzer 230 150 meters to his right. At 8:43 hours and 14 seconds, the tank exploded as ammunition cooked off. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 14 seconds. At 8:43 and 22 seconds, rockets struck Panzer 227. Kill time, 8 seconds. At 8:43 and 35 seconds, Panzer 229 erupted in flames. Kill time, 13 seconds. Weber sprinted for a hedgerow as the world became explosions. At 8:44 hours, a second wave of P-47s attacked. Panzer 233 destroyed at 0844:07. Kill time, 7 seconds. Panzer 241 destroyed at 0844:19. Kill time, 12 seconds. Panzer 245 destroyed at 0844:31. Kill time, 12 seconds. Weber pressed himself into the earth as bombs cratered the Norman fields. At 8:45 hours, the third wave attacked. Panzer 247 at 0845:04, kill time 11 seconds. Panzer 251 at 0845:18, kill time 14 seconds. Panzer 253 at 0845, 29, kill time 11 seconds. The attack continued with mechanical precision. Each wave of 8 aircraft destroyed 3 to 4 tanks. The formations attacked in strict intervals, maintaining constant pressure that prevented recovery or effective anti-aircraft response. At 8:47 hours, the final wave struck. Panzer 257 destroyed at 0847, 11 kill time 13 seconds. Panzer 259 destroyed at 0847, 26 kill time 15 seconds. At 0847, 40 the attack ended. Total engagement duration 4 minutes 40 seconds. Enemy losses: 14 Panzer IVs destroyed, 3 damaged beyond recovery. American losses 0. Kill ratio 17-0. The ammunition expended in this 4-minute engagement exceeded the Panzer Lehr Division's monthly allocation for anti-aircraft defense. The bombs dropped, 224 500-pound bombs, represented more explosive tonnage than the entire Panzer Lehr Division had received in artillery support during the previous month of fighting. Weber emerged from the hedgerow to find his company destroyed. 17 tanks burning, 41 crew members dead or wounded. The attack had been clinical, systematic, overwhelming. Michael Wittmann received the battle damage reports at division headquarters. 17 tanks destroyed in 5 minutes by aircraft. The numbers seemed impossible. American close air support coordinates with ground forces using radio systems we cannot intercept, the report stated. Fighter-bomber formations attack in coordinated waves, delivering munitions far exceeding German ground attack capacity. American pilots train for an average of 400 flight hours before combat deployment. Our pilots receive 110 hours training due to fuel rationing. American pilots operate from established airfields with unlimited fuel, munitions, and maintenance support. Our pilots operate from improvised strips with ration supplies. Wittmann studied the casualty lists. 17 experienced Panzer IV crews lost in one engagement. Replacement crews were arriving with minimal training, barely 60 hours in tank operation before deployment. The experienced crews that had won victories in 1941-1942 were being systematically ground down. Each loss was irreplaceable. Each American loss was replaced within weeks by fresh crews with fresh equipment. The mathematics were shifting from tactical superiority to strategic impossibility. Intelligence dismissed the reports as exaggerated. Combat stress produces inflated loss estimates, the analysis stated. 17 tanks destroyed in 5 minutes is operationally impossible without nuclear weapons. Pilots cannot achieve such accuracy. American bombs cannot consistently destroy armored vehicles. The report indicates pilot panic, not actual losses. Division command agreed. Americans compensate for poor ground combat performance with excessive air power, Wittmann told his staff. They cannot defeat us in tank versus tank combat, so they call aircraft. This proves our superiority. They fear German armor so greatly that they require overwhelming air support for every engagement. Their tactical weakness is evident. They cannot fight us fairly. The confidence seemed reasonable. American Shermans consistently lost direct engagements against Tigers and Panthers when air support was absent. At Villers-Bocage, Wittmann had destroyed 25 tanks in 15 minutes without air interference. In direct combat, German armor dominated. The mathematics seemed clear. Prevent American air superiority, and German quality would prevail. Klaus Hoffmann reported to Army Group headquarters with updated production analysis. American tank production for first quarter 1944, 7,821 Sherman tanks. German tank production same period, 1,477 tanks of all types. American production exceeds ours by ratio of 5:3:1. Additionally, American factories produced 4,219 tank destroyers, 2,847 self-propelled guns, and 1,632 armored cars same period. Total American armored vehicle production, 16,519 units. Total German armored vehicle production, 2,144 units. The ratio is 7:7:1. A single American state, Michigan, produced more armored vehicles in first quarter 1944 than our entire Reich. The briefing room was silent. American industrial capacity operates at scales we cannot comprehend, Hoffmann continued. The Chrysler tank arsenal produces more tanks monthly than our entire Tiger program produces annually. The Fisher body plant produces more medium tanks monthly than we produce all tanks of all types monthly. We face not an army but an industrial avalanche. The mathematics are irrefutable. We cannot win a war of production. American production, 49,234 Sherman tanks total by war's end. German production, 1,347 Tigers, 6,000 Panthers, 8,553 Panzer IVs total. A single American facility, the Chrysler tank arsenal, exceeded Germany's entire heavy tank output. The Fisher Body Plant in Grand Blanc, Michigan produced 11,352 Sherman tanks between 1942 and 1945, more tanks than Germany's entire Panther program. American production operated at ratios that made German production statistically insignificant. They tried attacking American factories with strategic bombing. The Americans built replacement facilities faster than Germany could bomb existing ones. They attempted submarine warfare against American shipping. American shipyards produced Liberty ships faster than U-boats could sink them. They tried focusing on tank destroyers that could defeat Shermans. Americans produced tank destroyers faster than Germany produced main battle tanks. They attempted armored concentration tactics to achieve local superiority. American air power destroyed concentrations before engagement. Every German countermeasure met American industrial capacity that rendered the counter meaningless. August 8, 1944, Operation Totalize, 23:17 hours. Hans Weber heard them before he saw them. The rumble began at 23:17 hours, a sound like sustained thunder rolling across the Norman plains. Then he saw the artillery flashes, 720 guns firing simultaneously. The barrage walked forward at exactly 100 meters per 3 minutes, a moving wall of high explosive that pulverized everything in its path. At 23:23 hours, the first wave of Sherman tanks appeared, 60 tanks advancing in line formation, their shapes illuminated by searchlights bouncing off clouds to create artificial moonlight. At 23:25 hours, Weber's Panzer IV engaged the leftmost Sherman, direct hit on frontal armor at 800 meters. The Sherman continued advancing. Second shot at 2,325, 18. Hit. The Sherman stopped, turret traversing. At 2,325, 31, the Sherman's 75 gun fired. Weber's Panzer IV lurched as the round penetrated the side armor during the tank's attempt to present a better angle. Elapsed time from engagement to destruction, 44 seconds. Kill time on Weber's Panzer IV, 13 seconds. Weber evacuated through the rear hatch as ammunition began cooking off. At 23:30 hours, 60 more Shermans appeared. The second wave advanced with identical spacing and formation. German anti-tank guns engaged. At 2,331.07, one Sherman destroyed. Kill time 12 seconds. At 2,331.22, another Sherman destroyed. Kill time 15 seconds. At 2,331.51, a third Sherman destroyed. Kill time 14 seconds. 3 Shermans destroyed. 57 continued advancing. At 23:33 hours, German anti-tank positions were overrun. The Shermans simply drove over the gun emplacements, crushing equipment and crews under 30 tons of steel. At 23:35 hours, the third wave arrived, 60 more Shermans. At 23:37 hours, the fourth wave, 60 more. By 23:45 hours, 240 Sherman tanks had advanced through the German defensive position. German forces destroyed 11 Shermans. 229 Shermans continued the advance. Kill ratio, 11-229, or approximately 121 in favor of the attackers. Total engagement duration, 28 minutes. Enemy losses, 11 Sherman tanks. German losses, 43 tanks destroyed, 18 anti-tank guns destroyed, 387 casualties. The ammunition expended in this 28-minute engagement exceeded the 12th SS Panzer Division's monthly allocation for defensive operations. The fuel consumed by the advancing Sherman force, approximately 7,200 gallons for the 240 tanks during the engagement, exceeded what the 12th SS Panzer Division received weekly for all operations. The replacement rate proved more devastating than the combat itself. Within 72 hours, American forces had replaced all 11 destroyed Shermans with factory-fresh vehicles. The German losses of 43 tanks represented irreplaceable combat power. There were no replacement tanks available. The destroyed German crews included men with 18 months of combat experience. The replacement American crews arrived with crews averaging 6 months training on identical equipment. Experience was being replaced by standardization. Skill was being replaced by systematic doctrine. Individual excellence was being buried under organizational competence operating with unlimited resources. Weber, lying in a field hospital with burns covering his left arm, recognized the fundamental shift. This wasn't a battle between armies. This was industrial capacity destroying military excellence through simple mathematics of replacement and attrition. Michael Wittmann studied after-action reports in the bombed-out schoolhouse that served as division headquarters. The mathematics were becoming impossible. In the first week of August, American forces had lost 73 Sherman tanks in his division sector. Within 10 days, all 73 had been replaced. German forces had lost 51 tanks, Tigers, Panthers, and Panzer IVs in the same period. 0 had been replaced. The cumulative effect was catastrophic. On August 1, the division fielded 127 operational tanks. On August 12, the division fielded 63 operational tanks. American forces on August 1 fielded approximately 600 tanks. On August 12, American forces fielded approximately 670 tanks. The Americans were losing tanks faster than Germany could destroy them and still growing stronger. The enemy was gaining tanks while Germany was losing them. "They're not defeating us," Wittmann told his adjutant. "They're drowning us in steel." The realization came with bitter clarity. Battlefield superiority meant nothing when the enemy could replace losses at rates exceeding their destruction. Klaus Hoffmann presented final analysis to remaining command staff. American armored divisions receive complete replacement vehicles within 14 days of combat losses. Our divisions receive no replacements. American divisions receive 1,200 replacement crew members monthly. Our divisions receive 200 replacement crew members monthly. American divisions have unlimited fuel, ammunition, and parts. Our divisions operate on rationed fuel insufficient for full operational tempo. The mathematics are final. We cannot win. American production has delivered approximately 35,000 Sherman tanks as of August 1944. We have destroyed approximately 4,000 in combat. They have 31,000 remaining plus continued production of 1,500 monthly. Our entire operational Panzer force numbers approximately 2,100 tanks of all types on all fronts. Even if every German tank destroyed 5 American tanks before being destroyed itself, we would still lose. The mathematics admit no other outcome. The report was filed. Command acknowledged the numbers but maintained that determination and fighting spirit would overcome material disadvantage. Hoffmann recognized the delusion but lacked authority to change strategic reality. He tried attacking supply convoys. American replacement vehicles arrived faster than convoys could be interdicted. They attempted targeting repair depots. American forces had redundant maintenance facilities with unlimited spare parts. They tried concentrating anti-tank weapons. American artillery suppressed German anti-tank guns before armored advances. They attempted night attacks to avoid American airpower. American forces had radar-directed anti-aircraft guns and night fighting aircraft. Every tactical innovation met systematic American counters supported by unlimited resources. The Panzer Lehr Division attempted a concentrated counterattack on August 9. They assembled 43 tanks, every operational vehicle in the division. The attack encountered 140 American tanks, 24 tank destroyers, and continuous airstrikes. The Panzer Lehr Division lost 37 tanks in 4 hours. The Americans lost 19 tanks and replaced them all within 72 hours. The mathematics permitted only one outcome: German defeat through attrition that could not be reversed. August 8, 1944, 14:37 hours, near Falaise, France. The engagement that would kill Michael Wittmann began at 14:37 hours. His Tiger led a column of 7 tanks attempting to establish defensive positions near Sintho. At 1437:20, 5 Sherman Fireflies from the British 1st Northamptonshire Yeomanry engaged from concealed positions at 800 meters range. The Fireflies mounted British 17-pounder guns capable of penetrating Tiger armor. At 1437:35, the first 17-pounder round struck Wittmann's Tiger on the turret side. At 1437:42, a second round penetrated the rear engine deck. At 1437:48, ammunition exploded. Elapsed time from engagement to death, 28 seconds. Michael Wittmann, Germany's premier tank ace with 138 confirmed kills, died instantly when his Tiger's ammunition detonated. His entire crew, Balthasar Wohl, gunner, Karl Wagner, loader, Rudolf Herschel, driver, and Heinrich Reimers, radio operator, died with him. 5 men who collectively had destroyed over 200 enemy vehicles died in less than 30 seconds. The Tiger burned for 40 minutes before the fire consumed itself. The remaining 6 Tigers in the column were destroyed within 7 minutes. At 1,438, 14 Tiger 121 destroyed. Kill time 11 seconds. At 1,439.03 Tiger 134 destroyed. Kill time 17 seconds. At 1,439.47 Tiger 142 destroyed. Kill time 14 seconds. At 1,440.25 Tiger 151 destroyed. Kill time 16 seconds. At 1,441.08 Tiger 163 destroyed. Kill time 19 seconds. At 1,442.17 Tiger 174 destroyed. Kill time 13 seconds. At 1,444.00 the engagement ended. Total engagement duration 6 minutes 40 seconds. Enemy losses 7 Tiger tanks, 35 crew members killed. British losses 0 tanks destroyed, 0 casualties. Kill ratio 7-0. The ammunition expended, approximately 63 17-pounder rounds, exceeded what an entire German tank battalion received monthly for combat operations against heavy armor. This wasn't combat. This was systematic annihilation. The Tigers, Germany's most feared weapon, had been destroyed with mechanical efficiency by crews operating from prepared positions with superior guns and unlimited ammunition. Hans Weber learned of Wittmann's death while recovering in a field hospital outside Falaise. The news spread through the Wehrmacht like a cold wind. Wittmann had seemed invincible, 138 kills, personal decoration from Hitler, legendary status among Panzer crews. If Wittmann could die in 28 seconds, any crew could die. If 7 Tigers could be destroyed in 7 minutes with 0 enemy losses, German tactical superiority was an illusion. The psychological impact exceeded the material loss. German crews had believed individual skill and superior equipment guaranteed battlefield success. Wittmann's death proved that American industrial capacity, delivering unlimited ammunition, unlimited replacement vehicles, unlimited everything, could overwhelm individual excellence through systematic application of superior resources. A Tiger cost 800,000 Reichsmarks and required months to produce. A Firefly-modified Sherman cost $50,000 and could be produced in 9 hours. The Americans could lose 5 Shermans for every Tiger destroyed and still gain numerical advantage. The mathematics admitted only one outcome: systematic German defeat through attrition warfare that industrial capacity rendered inevitable. Klaus Hoffmann filed his final intelligence summary on August 20, 1944. The Falaise pocket has cost us approximately 1,500 armored vehicles destroyed or abandoned. American forces have lost approximately 400 armored vehicles in the same period. Our losses are irreplaceable. Theirs will be replaced within 30 days. We entered France with approximately 2,300 tanks operational. We now have fewer than 700 operational. The Americans entered France with approximately 4,000 tanks operational. They now have approximately 5,200 operational despite losses. They have grown stronger while we have grown weaker. The ammunition expended by American forces in the Normandy campaign exceeds our total ammunition production for all purposes for the entire year of 1944. The fuel consumed by American forces in France exceeds our total synthetic fuel production for the same period. We face not a military force, but an industrial system that has optimized warfare through production methodology. Individual German excellence cannot overcome systematic American abundance. The mathematics prove conclusive. We have lost this war. Further resistance simply increases the casualty count without changing the outcome. September 1944. Prisoner of War Interrogation Center, Leicester, England. Klaus Hoffmann sat across from British intelligence officers in a converted schoolroom. The Americans had captured him near Falaise with surviving division staff. His interrogation focused on German perceptions of Allied capabilities. "We were not defeated by better soldiers," Hoffmann stated clearly. "We were defeated by better factories. In 1943, the Chrysler tank arsenal produced more tanks monthly than our entire Reich produced annually. A single American factory exceeded our national capacity. We brought excellence to a war of production. They brought production capacity that made excellence irrelevant. The mathematics were irrefutable. One American facility produced 1,027 Sherman tanks in November 1943. Our entire Tiger program produced 1,347 Tigers total from 1942 to 1945. One American factory in 1 month exceeded our most advanced program's multi-year production. We never had a chance in a war of industrial attrition. We won battles. They won the economic war before the first shot was fired. Hans Weber's interrogation occurred 3 days later. His burns had healed sufficiently for questioning. "I saw what American production meant on the battlefield," Weber told interrogators. "At Operation Totalize, they attacked with 240 Sherman tanks in waves of 60. We destroyed 11. They didn't care. 229 continued attacking. 3 days later, all 11 destroyed tanks had been replaced. Our losses, 43 tanks, were never replaced." They could trade losses at 3-to-1 ratios and still grow stronger. I personally witnessed a 5-minute air attack destroy 17 Panzer IVs with 0 American losses. The aircraft expended more ammunition in that single attack than our entire battalion received monthly for combat operations. They didn't just outproduce us. They revolutionized production itself. They created industrial systems that delivered overwhelming material superiority at the tactical level. Every engagement proved the same lesson. American abundance buried German excellence under tonnages we couldn't match. Additional testimony from captured German officers reinforced the same conclusions. A Panzer Lehr captain stated, "We brought swords to a gunfight, then realized our enemy had machine guns, artillery, and unlimited ammunition. Their excess capacity exceeded our maximum effort. During one engagement near Caen, American forces expended more artillery ammunition in 6 hours than our entire army group received in 6 weeks. They fired shells like we fired rifle rounds, continuously without thought to conservation. We rationed every shell, every liter of fuel, every component. They wasted freely because they knew more would arrive tomorrow. The psychological difference was as important as the material difference. They operated from abundance. We operated from desperation." A Tiger commander testified, "They could lose 3 Shermans for every Tiger and still win through numbers. They could replace 3 Shermans in the time it took us to repair 1 Tiger. They could train 3 Sherman crews while we were waiting for parts to arrive. The mathematics were merciless. Their production capacity guaranteed victory regardless of battlefield performance." A division intelligence officer provided statistical summaries. American production through August 1944, approximately 40,000 Sherman tanks. German production same period, approximately 9,800 tanks of all types. Single American factory, the Chrysler tank arsenal, produced 18,413 tanks from 1942 to 1945. Entire German Tiger program, 1,347 tanks. Single American factory exceeded our most prestigious program by ratio of 13:7:1. The Fisher Body plant produced 11,352 Shermans. That's more than our entire Panther program. The Grand Blanc arsenal produced 8,147 Shermans. That exceeded our entire Panzer IV production in 1944. American monthly production in August 1944, approximately 1,600 tanks. German monthly production same period, approximately 400 tanks. They outproduced us by 4-to-1 ratios while simultaneously producing aircraft, ships, trucks, artillery, and ammunition at scales we couldn't match in any single category. The mathematics were devastating. We faced an enemy who could outproduce us in every category simultaneously while maintaining quality standards equivalent to ours. Klaus Hoffmann provided final production analysis. American production advantage was not limited to tanks. In 1944, America produced 96,318 aircraft. Germany produced 39,807 aircraft. America produced 2,710 major naval vessels. Germany produced 134 major naval vessels. America produced 812,000 trucks. Germany produced 88,000 trucks. America produced 41 million tons of steel. Germany produced 28 million tons of steel while suffering bombing that reduced capacity monthly. America's aluminum production exceeded 1 million tons annually. Germany's aluminum production approximated 250,000 tons annually. The production differentials extended across every material category. Americans operated from surplus. We operated from deficit. They wasted, we rationed. They replaced, we repaired. They advanced, we retreated. The mathematics proved conclusive across every metric. American industrial capacity guaranteed Allied victory once the United States committed its production base to military purposes. We never understood the scale of American industrial capacity until it destroyed us. September 1944, Philosophical Reflection. The M4 Sherman proved that democratic industrial capacity, properly mobilized, exceeds authoritarian production regardless of technological sophistication. Free workers at the Chrysler tank arsenal outproduced slave labor across Germany's entire tank program. Rose Monroe's riveting station outproduced entire German facilities because she worked voluntarily, earned fair wages, ate well, lived comfortably, and believed in her cause. Democratic cooperation exceeded totalitarian command because free societies generate innovation, efficiency, and dedication that coercion cannot match. Industrial abundance buried ideological superiority under 49,234 Sherman tanks. A steel avalanche that proved free people's productive capacity exceeds that of oppressed populations regardless of military tradition or tactical excellence. Sherman's real victory wasn't technological. Tigers had better armor and bigger guns. The Sherman's victory was systematic. American industry created production systems that delivered 49,234 tanks, trained crews, unlimited ammunition, unlimited fuel, unlimited parts, and continuous replacement at rates Germany couldn't approach. Individual German excellence couldn't overcome systematic American competence multiplied by infinite resources. One Tiger might destroy 10 Shermans, but America built 15 Shermans for every Tiger Germany produced. The mathematics guaranteed American victory through attrition warfare that rendered German tactical superiority operationally meaningless. American industrial capacity transformed warfare from art to production problem, from individual skill to organizational efficiency, from tactical excellence to logistical superiority. June 14, 1944, Michael Wittmann had laughed at American toy tanks and claimed one Tiger equaled 10 Shermans. August 8, 1944, Michael Wittmann died in 28 seconds when British Fireflies, Sherman variants, destroyed his Tiger. His mockery became history's most catastrophic miscalculation. Germany produced 1,347 Tigers total. America produced 49,234 Shermans. The kill ratio favored Tigers perhaps 3-1 in direct combat. The production ratio favored Shermans 37-1. Simple arithmetic. American production rendered German tactical excellence irrelevant. The Tiger was the better tank. The Sherman won the war. Quality lost to quantity when quantity operated at ratios approaching 40-1. The lesson remains permanently relevant. Dismissing democratic nations as weak because they prefer peace, or underestimating free people's productive capacity because they value commerce over militarism, invites catastrophic miscalculation. Authoritarian regimes consistently underestimate democratic industrial capacity because they cannot comprehend production systems based on voluntary cooperation, fair compensation, and worker dignity. They assume coercion maximizes production. History proves the opposite. Free workers outproduce slaves, democratic cooperation exceeds totalitarian command, and industrial societies that value human dignity generate productive capacities that militaristic societies cannot match regardless of tactical excellence or battlefield tradition. The Sherman tank proved this lesson with mathematical finality. 49,234 tanks delivered by free workers buried 1,347 Tigers produced by a regime that confused cruelty with strength and discovered too late that industrial wars are won in factories, not on battlefields.